The Wind Will Carry Us 1999, directed by the acclaimed Iranian filmmaker Abbas Kiarostami, is a deeply philosophical and contemplative film that explores life, death, and the relationship between tradition and modernity. The film's narrative is deceptively simple but rich in meaning, unfolding in a remote Kurdish village in Iran. It follows the journey of a group of outsiders, led by an unnamed engineer, who come to the village under mysterious circumstances. As the story progresses, the film slowly reveals its deeper reflections on human existence and the passage of time. The film begins with a car driving through the scenic, rugged hills of rural Iran, making its way toward a remote village called Sayr Dareh. The driver is an unnamed engineer played by Behzad Durrani, accompanied by a small team of men. They have come to the village under the pretext of working on a telecommunications project, but their true purpose is more obscure and slowly revealed as the story unfolds. Once they arrive in the village, the engineer and his colleagues are welcomed by the local people, who are friendly but curious about their visitors' presence. The engineer is a well-dressed city man, which sets him apart from the villagers, who lead a simple, traditional life based on farming and close community ties. His disconnection from this environment becomes clear as he struggles to adapt to the slower pace of rural life. As the film progresses, it becomes apparent that the engineer and his team are actually there to document an important event: the impending death of an elderly woman, who is considered a respected figure in the village. The men are waiting for her to die so that they can document the traditional mourning rituals, which are deeply rooted in the village's customs. However, the old woman clings to life, and the engineer finds himself waiting day after day, growing increasingly impatient as time stretches on. This waiting period becomes a central theme of the film. The engineer's life in the village contrasts sharply with his fast-paced, goal-oriented mindset as a city dweller. While he constantly checks his watch and makes frequent phone calls to his superiors in the city, the villagers seem to live in harmony with the natural flow of time. They are not driven by deadlines or schedules. Instead, they follow the rhythms of the land and the seasons. During his stay, the engineer becomes acquainted with various villagers, including a young boy named Farzad, who serves as his guide, and Yusuf, a man digging a well on a nearby hill. Despite his initial detachment, the engineer slowly starts to form connections with the people around him, and through these relationships, he begins to reflect on his own life and values. The engineer's frequent trips up a hill to get better phone reception are symbolic of his connection to modernity and the outside world. Each time he climbs the hill, he has brief, cryptic conversations with his boss, who is growing impatient with the lack of progress. These phone calls highlight the stark contrast between the engineer's modern, goal-oriented mindset and the slower, more organic way of life in the village. Throughout the film, Kiarostami uses minimalist cinematography and long, lingering shots to emphasize the natural beauty of the landscape and the slow passage of time. The camera often remains stationary, capturing the characters as small figures within the vast, open terrain. This creates a sense of distance and isolation, reflecting the engineer's growing realization that life in the village follows a different set of rules that he cannot fully understand or control. As the days pass, the engineer becomes more introspective, questioning the purpose of his visit and the meaning of life and death. The elderly woman's refusal to die becomes a metaphor for the unpredictable nature of life, which cannot be easily captured or documented. The engineer's frustration with the lack of progress is juxtaposed with the village's acceptance of the natural cycle of life and death. The film's title, The Wind Will Carry Us, is taken from a poem by Forough Farrokhzad, an iconic Iranian poet. The poem speaks about the inevitability of death and the fleeting nature of life, themes that are central to the film. Just as the wind carries away leaves or dust, life is ephemeral and beyond human control. The wind, in this sense, becomes a symbol of life's impermanence and the inevitability of death. One of the film's most poignant moments comes when the engineer encounters Yusuf, the well digger. Yusuf's work, digging into the earth in search of water, serves as a metaphor for the engineer's own search for meaning. Both men are engaged in a process of excavation, Yusuf literally, and the engineer metaphorically, as they dig deeper into the mysteries of life. Their conversations touch on themes of mortality, the passage of time, and the interconnectedness of life and nature. As the film reaches its conclusion, the elderly woman never dies on screen, and the engineer's mission remains incomplete. He leaves the village without having achieved his goal, but his time there has clearly changed him. While he initially came to the village with a clear objective, he departs with a deeper understanding of life's complexities and an appreciation for the rhythms of rural life. Life and death. The film's central theme revolves around the cycle of life and death, explored through the engineers waiting for the elderly woman's passing. The villagers' acceptance of death as a natural part of life contrasts with the engineers' impatience and desire for control. Kiarostami subtly suggests that life cannot be scheduled or neatly documented as it unfolds unpredictably. Modernity vs. tradition. The film contrasts the fast-paced technological world of the engineer with the slow, traditional life of the villagers. The engineer's constant need to connect with the outside world, symbolized by his trips to the hill for better phone reception, highlights his disconnection from the natural flow of time and life in the village. Time and patience. The film's slow pace mirrors the central theme of waiting and patience. The engineer's experience in the village becomes a lesson in letting go of the need for immediate results and learning to live in harmony with the passage of time. Nature and humanity. Kiarostami's use of the natural landscape plays a significant role in the film's thematic structure. The wide open spaces, hills and rural terrain symbolize the vastness of nature and the smallness of human concerns. The well digger's work, digging into the earth, reflects humanity's connection to the natural world and the search for deeper meaning. Abbas Kiarostami's filmmaking style in The Wind Will Carry Us is characterized by its minimalism and poetic visuals. The film uses long takes, wide shots, and natural lighting to create a meditative atmosphere. The dialogue is sparse, allowing the imagery and the landscape to convey much of the film's meaning. Kiarostami's refusal to show certain key events, such as the elderly woman's death, encourages the audience to reflect on the unseen and the unspoken aspects of life. The film's deliberate pace and focus on small, everyday details invite the viewer to engage with the story on a deeper, philosophical level. Kiarostami's use of open-ended storytelling leaves much to interpretation, allowing the audience to draw their own conclusions about the engineer's transformation and the meaning of his journey. The Wind Will Carry Us is a quietly profound film that meditates on the nature of life, death, and the human condition. Through the story of an engineer's time in a remote village, Abbas Kiarostami explores the tension between modernity and tradition, the passage of time, and the inevitability of death. The film's minimalist style and philosophical depth make it a timeless piece of cinema, offering viewers an opportunity to reflect on the meaning of life and the beauty of living in harmony with nature's rhythms.